Check 1 2 1 2. It's nice to be back sounding like butter now.
Like butter, baby.
Hey. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. Привет, pravushkis.
Hey. About my time.
What's that?
About my time. Good morning.
Hey. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right. Feels good to be back in the home space.
You know, the one place in the world, Craig, where you have curated for yourself.
That's right. You know what it is? First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Trying to get up, move your body.
Don't be coming in here with no case of the Mondays. You don't need that.
No case of the Mondays.
Trying to start on the good
on there was, yeah, man. I don't think there's no case of the Mondays. Not where I work. Coming in and talking about a case of the Mondays, but it is Monday, so yes. I guess yes. As long as we haven't caught no cases, it is Monday, April 24th, 2023. Guess what? You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners coming on in. Man, radio listeners too. What's happening? What's happening, y'all? Hey. Everybody's eager to get going this morning. I like it.
I just looked up and the number jumped. Yeah.
That's what's up. Hey, good morning to all everybody who's jumped in, man. Pop says good Monday morning for Skyers and mad love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pops. Brother Sanchez, Mayor Sanchez, I ain't seen your name in a minute. That's what's up. Back on Facebook. He said, what'd you say about my mama? That's how you start something on the West Coast. What do you say about my mama? Then you have to say nothing. You just go up and, what do you say about my mama? That's what
those are words. Mm-hmm.
Chris Ignore says, good morning. Good morning to you. Mama Guy says, good morning, First Sky fam. Good morning to you. Pop says, you are both in very good mood for a Monday. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I'm just happy to not have the technical difficulties this show.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good about. So feeling good, feeling great. How are you? And I'm also glad to be back home. That was kind of a harrowing trip.
Man.
On there.
I mean, it's something about like it's really something about being home, like even from a health perspective. You talk about like the elderly, your elders that might be in the hospital and they transport home and they just start feeling better. Just being around loved ones, being around your stuff.
Right before they pass away. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it is how it is, though.
Real.
Yeah, it is real. Yeah. I hear that a lot. That's why I was thinking of it, because they definitely have gone through some situations with some elderly folks and friends and family that did that. They were at the hospital, like, I just want to go home, man.
Yeah, that's it.
Go home and look like they're doing better. Everybody gets their hopes up. You know what I'm saying? But really, they just wanted to come home and die in peace at home around the family.
Yeah, man. I've had members pass away at home as well, and I will say that I prefer that than some hospital alone.
Man, that's real. But anyway, yeah, we like, even before that happens, home.
Right. You can live at home as well. You can live at home.
So I'm glad to be back living at home for sure.
Yes, man.
For those of you that know, I was out of town. I was in Colorado for almost a week, I guess.
Really?
No, not one that long.
5 days, 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. It felt pretty long. It was longer than I was expecting to go. That's for sure. Yeah, back now. Traveled back Sunday and took that long drive back. And man, I'm trying to tell you, I dropped everything off and came back to the house and sat on the couch for a minute and woke up about 3 in the morning.
Mm-hmm. That's how it goes.
Slept a good like 12 hours on the couch after I came home. That's what
how
it
it
was.
goes. Then you make it to the bed.
Man, is a definitely restful sleep. I was listening to an Octavia Butler book on the way home while I was driving home.
Okay.
And she said something on there that, talking about they were out in the wilderness and stuff, and she was sleeping and the main character had to sleep on the ground. She was like, "This ground feels as good as the bed," saying there ain't nothing like exhaustion to make you sleep as good as you can, and that's how I was feeling yesterday. So I'm happy to be back and be able to finally lay down, relax, and actually sleep.
Man, and even before that, you've been kind of talking about your CPAP machine and your issues with sleep. So yeah, you finally feel like you got a good one in, huh?
I can take the machine back. I just need to be exhausted. That's all I need. Amy Huffless gives us a good morning, fam. Good morning to you. Mark Manners over on YouTube as well says, "Good morning. I'm glad you survived record store day, bro. I saw the line outside there. That's always a good thing, but it's always a tough day as well." Leia Swing Left Nebraska is in the house. Marvelous Monday. I don't see you guys on YouTube today. Is it just me? I think it is. I see some other people on YouTube responding, so you might want to restart and try it again.
Couple tubers.
Mama God says, "How was the drive back from Denver? I saw their weather was a bit worse than ours." No, it's about the same. It was the same little flurries. Accumulated a little bit on the ground in the morning on Sunday, but by the afternoon it was already melted because that's the nature of Denver. So they don't stay cold when they get cold. But it was fine. It was like super clear, beautiful. It was actually really, really nice. It was about 55 degrees, clear skies, blue skies with some puffy clouds. It was as far as the weather was concerned, it was nice until I got to Omaha. As I started driving into Omaha, as I started driving into Nebraska, very high winds started whipping me around a little bit, but not as bad as it was a few days back. So, yeah,
I can imagine driving with a trailer and stuff too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Brother Mayor Sanchez, did you visit the dispensary? No, man, I don't do that stuff, bro. It's a waste on me. I'll go right to sleep.
Yeah.
But I did see a lot. I forgot that it was legal over there, and there's dispensaries everywhere, just like corner stores, man. It's a trip.
Goes back to your kind of theory of Nebraska's, kind of playbook as far as being the state around. I believe Missouri has at least outlawed it. Kansas as well. So kind of being the state, that's in the middle of all the action per se that's going to lock everybody up.
I was talking to somebody about that out there.
Yeah, man.
And they said it. They said
really?
It. Yeah, because I was talking about it, and then and I said I forgot that Denver was legal, and then we said something about what was it? I forgot what other state we were talking about, but it was like it's about to be that everybody around Nebraska is going to be legal. And then dude said, "Yeah, and Nebraska probably just is trying to catch them coming through." And I was like, "Yeah, that's exactly what we think." They built,
exactly.
They built more prisons to do just that. To just catch everybody doing everything. So, yeah, it's a trip. He says they're still a sight to behold. It is a trip to see that, man. To see like little funny phrases. You know how like they have business names. They'll have little funny phrases and stuff like that. I mean, it's a trip. They're on like every corner.
Man, I'm sure it's almost like being in a different world a little bit, especially coming from Nebraska, maybe.
No, it's like being in California.
Oh yeah, you are a Cali kid. But that also reminds me. Over the weekend, I came across a documentary talking about the use of psilocybin or whatever, like mushrooms, and how that's becoming more well known, especially for like mental health. I mean, we talk about mental health in athletes. There's a documentary talking about that, and in the trailer in the documentary, they reminded me that Oregon completely legalized like all drugs with the use of like with the help of a professional. I forget, man. I can imagine that's like being in a different world.
Yeah, it is. But it's still also like being in California. Northern California does. I even have some family members that are into the psilocybin stuff, the microdose, growing the mushrooms for the microdosing and all that. So it's like beginning to be an industry there too. But it's definitely like full speed in Oregon. But yeah, man, they're talking about everybody talking about magic mushrooms. Microdosing magic mushrooms is helping with mental health, all kinds of stuff that we're light years away from being able to even have a conversation about here in Nebraska.
Oh yeah, man, you're in my mind completely. Yeah, we're going to seemingly the opposite direction with our mental health conversation, but
that's real.
Yeah.
Brooke Allen gives us a good morning, a God morning. What's happening,
Hey,
Brooke?
I mean,
On YouTube.
I'll take a God morning. You ain't got to clean it up.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. I appreciate everybody jumping in this morning so early. Everybody seems to be on the same tip. I think it's the weather getting better too, man.
Yeah.
It makes it. I didn't believe in like seasonal depression and stuff like that till I got here, and I'm like, oh, that's real. That's for real.
Yeah.
For real.
It's a real thing.
I turn into a different person when the sun comes up.
Man, actually, it's kind of the opposite. For me, a little bit like not having the winter and living in Florida. Like after being in Nebraska for a while, it's kind of weird. It was kind of weird.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It was kind of weird. I mean, your body will adjust to wherever it's at, and when there's a change, you feel it.
So you went out there like, why am I just happy all the time? I don't. I need some winter time. What's going on here?
I need to change it up.
I need to brood for a minute. I need to brood for a couple months.
Why is everything not dead around? No. Yeah, it's a real thing, man. It's a real thing. So, make sure you're checking on yourself, checking on your loved ones. Most importantly, wherever you are.
There you are, man. What's going on with you, buddy? How was your
Yeah, man. I had a good weekend. Actually did some cleanup. Let me know if anybody in the chat got out for Earth Day. There was supposed to be some activities going down at Elmwood Park. So yeah, give us a rundown if anyone made it out there. I went out to a park with my local temple, and we met up with some other organizations to do the neighborhood cleanup, which I think was an event nationwide. I believe it was like Clean Up America or something like that. So different organizations, adopted a park as a part of this organization or a part of this event, if you will. And we went out to the park, man. It was a beautiful day. It was supposed to be rainy, but it ended up being a nice sunshiny day. Took the little ones out there. They're running around. I had my vest on, picking up trash. I don't know, man. It was really relaxing. Like it just kind of reminded me of being a kid, just being outside digging in dirt. You know what I mean? Exploring for stuff. So yeah, that was pretty much my Saturday.
When it's not court ordered, it's very pleasurable.
It's funny you say that because I was thinking about that. Like, man, I'm really enjoying this, but like I know there's some people with some other vest on that's not feeling this as much, but I'm glad to be voluntarily doing it for just for the community, man. So that was pretty pleasant. Went to a cookout later on with the fam, so that was cool. But yeah. Got outside Saturday or over the weekend. I say that's my highlight.
Speaking of outside, man, this is a good time to remind people of First Sky Omaha is a part working on a. Tell them about it, buddy. You tell them about
it. Oh man, you had the segue and then you kind of fumbled it.
I did fumble it.
But yeah, speaking of outside, the First Sky Omaha is behind the production of the We Outside show. Shout out to DJ Big X, DJ Filthy Rich, and DJ Smooth, the three-headed monster that are the hosts of the We Outside show. And yeah, man, we're talking most things hip hop, a lot of things hip hop, but also we get into some other politics and things like that. If you're familiar, had Brother Red Pill on. That episode should be dropping pretty soon. But
nice.
Yeah, man, we talked to a lot of OGs in the game, getting a lot of stories, man. Kind of like Atlanta Drink Champs, if you will, man. I'm getting a lot of Atlanta history and if you know anything about Atlanta's place in music, getting a lot of music history at the same time. We've had Jazzy Faye on. Man, we had Emmanuel Lewis on. That was a pretty cool episode. Had KRS-One on.
About that one.
Yeah. Actually, Emmanuel Lewis is probably one of our top performing. Yeah. So yeah, shout out to Emmanuel Lewis, man. Definitely a very interesting and legendary individual. Don't call him Webster.
Don't call him Webster.
Yeah, don't call him Webster.
I heard he could fight too. I like him. You really don't want to call him Webster.
No, I mean he reminds you. He will remind you, and if you listen to him talk for 5 minutes, you will know he is a New Yorker through and through.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, stand up.
Yeah,
he is a New Yorker through and through, man. And he's not with the tomfoolery.
That's what's
No,
up.
no, it's not with the tomfoolery, man. But definitely shout out to Mr. Emmanuel Lewis, legendary individual. Yeah, man, go ahead and check out the episode. You will learn a lot. He goes into his time in Japan. Pops, he goes into his time in Japan as a music star. I mean, I think he said he had a #1 hit in Japan and
What? Oh,
traveling around Japan. Yeah, it's a very, very interesting episode, and we get into those types of stories with some of the figures you might know and some you might not know. So we outside show. Check us out.
we would definitely put the link in the Friends of First Sky Omaha friends page as well, and do a whole bunch of more linking everywhere. Now that we're fully invested in it, we're working on that show. We got more shows and stuff like that coming too, so stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for the rest of the show. We're going to go ahead and get this one started. 7:15 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you. Let's go. What up, what up, what up, what up? Good morning, good morning, good morning. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us on this Monday, April 24th. It's News Monday right now, April 24th. Already coming up on May, man. It's a trip. Weather's nice outside in Omaha right about now, so enjoy it. We're going to have about 5 seconds of spring before it starts getting summer out here, so definitely enjoy it. But I appreciate everybody that's coming on through and get ready. We only got a few more episodes left in this season 5. Teamwork makes the dream work. So stay tuned because there's going to be some chat chimers kickbacks that we're putting together here for the break, and then we'll be moving into season 6 just that fast. So time is flying, but we can't do this without you guys. I really appreciate everybody who jumps in and is part of our what we call our co-hosts. The chat chimers is a pretty exclusive club, seems like. So really appreciate everybody who's joined it, and everybody who's thinking about it. Come on in, man. We'd love to hear what you have to say about some things. Share the show. As a matter of fact, if you are on Facebook or YouTube, do us a favor, share the show on your page so that we can get as many people in talking as possible. Brooke in the chat says you guys should do something for the Cisco Day next month. I'm geared up. I kind of barely looked at what you sent me on that, Brooke. I have to go back and take a look at it. But
Cisco Day?
Are you talking about Cisco?
Like Thong Song Cisco?
Like thong. Let me know what you're talking about over there. I have to look. I gotta look. I said, look. I was so tired yesterday. I was looking at stuff and falling asleep. So definitely check me out. Pop says yes. I'm much happier in the rain and under gloomy skies. Washington would be the place for me. Okay.
Yeah, man. See, different strokes for different folks, man.
What's wrong with y'all? Y'all need some gloom in your year, huh?
I will say I do enjoy a nice rainy day, man. Get some tea going, get some nice jazz or something going, get the open crack window.
I can feel that. That's it's kind of
vibe.
Days. Right. But I don't need the bitter winter.
No,
I don't need none of that.
Bone chilling winds and things like that. You can keep that.
Pop says if Mr. Lewis had a #1 hit in Japan, they treated him like a god when he was there. They probably did anyway because he had a #1 TV show.
Man, so interesting thing, funny thing about that. He told a story about a Japanese folklore, and Pops, you might be familiar with this, Paul. You might know where I'm going, but because he's a small person, there is a folklore about a young Asiatic baby or like a young Asiatic child that's like this godlike figure that's supposed to come back and have these blessings and things like that. And he explains in the podcast about how they viewed him as that figure because he had this #1 hit. He had it's a crazy story.
I go back and watch that again.
Yes, to that point, Pops. Yes, he was treated like a god when he was in Japan.
Wow.
And yeah, it's check him out. Check him out. He's
Yeah.
lived quite the life. Quite the life.
Brooke is talking about Benjamin Sisko, who is the doing on Deep Space Nine.
See, that's how far we fallen from our Trekkie words of wisdom days.
Right. Well, not just that, but now that she said it, I remember seeing it. Now that I remember seeing what it is that she sent me, and was like, oh yeah, that's cool. I guess I went back to sleep. But yes, okay, brother. Mir Sanchez says Cisco the liquor. No, we ain't having no. The Cisco days is long done, bro.
Man.
As far as that's concerned. Okay. She said okay, but that was a Drew Hill first. But you talking about Cisco? Cisco was in Drew Hill first. Is that what you talking about? Mark Matter says I'm waiting for a Mark Morrison day.
See, it's Return of the Mac Day.
Brooks says he has a special day, May 22nd. Okay. Eddie Murphy's Golden Child. What was that?
Is that Cisco? Was that?
Oh, okay. Drew Hill was not first, Brooks. Okay, here we go. Battle of the 90s is happening in the chat right now. It's going down.
Yeah, let's maybe get into some stories.
Yeah, it is News Monday. Let's jump into some news. Lots of news happening right now. If you have any news top of mind too, please put it in the chat. And anything else, anything else that you are thinking that's on your hearts and minds, share with us. We'd love to have a conversation. It is not just about the news with us. You know what it is. It's building community. So yeah, definitely about the conversation, but there definitely conversations around what's going on in the news, and there's definitely some things happening that we were peeping right now. Not just that we were checking out, but that people were hitting us up left and right. Man, I was getting some more of them in the middle of the night texts over some of these stories. So big stuff. What's up, Zane? Good morning to you.
The
dude in the house. The Golden Child movie had a godlike little boy in it.
Oh yeah.
The Golden Child, Manuel Lewis. Don't call him West.
Yeah, man. Check out the We Outside Show official for Sky Omaha production.
Hey, right on. In the meantime, between time, what's first on the roster, buddy?
Man, I want to kick off with some good news. I feel like spirits are high on this Monday, and we always send peace and love and big thanks to our Native brothers and sisters for giving us, especially the elders from the Omaha tribe, giving us the pass to speak on this land, and they will speak with us from time to time. So big shout out to our Native brothers and sisters and the Northern Ponca tribe in particular, who's doing big moves, breaking ground as reported by the Omaha World Herald on $12 million housing development for the elderly and disabled. I mean, looking out for the elders in the tribe. So big shout out. We don't throw away our elders. The Northern Ponca Housing Authority took a significant step Friday toward realizing a long-standing dream of being able to offer handicap-accessible housing to elderly and disabled tribe members. The organization held a groundbreaking ceremony to launch construction of the Ponca Heights Elder Community near 84th and Lakeview Drive out in Ralston, Nebraska. The $12 million project will include 20 housing units, a community center, and a walking trail. The 20 zero-entry housing units will be divided among a fourplex and among a fourplex and 8 duplexes. Each will include 2 bedrooms, 1 or 2 bathrooms, a storm shelter, and a garage. The plans call for the project to be completed by December 2024. So right around the corner. Joey Nathan, who's the Housing Authority's executive director, says we are determined to make the dream a reality. So big shout out again to the Ponca tribe, who formed its own housing authority and offers a number of housing programs for members of federally recognized tribes, not just the Ponca tribes, but other tribes as well. Those include low-income housing, down payment assistance, and currently provides up to $40,000 towards a down payment for a handful of members each year, and a tenant home ownership program that allows renters to purchase homes over time. So definitely moving towards home ownership, making it happen. Love to see it.
That's real tight. I like that. Man, I'd love to see that around here. I'd love to see something like that. Yeah.
My thoughts exactly.
Man, but, shout out to the Ponca tribe, man. That's what I'm talking about. That's they're in action. They're in full action. They've come up with a plan. They've recognized the needs, had some conversation about it, put some stuff in motion, taking care of their most vulnerable.
Yeah, man. This is a prime example of teamwork making the dream work. And this has been in works for quite some time. Apparently, the organization bought the property where they will be building this new housing structure back in 2017. Two houses that had been situated on the property were eventually demolished, and the rest was covered with trees. And they were able to again secure the funds, and now it will begin developing.
That's what I'm talking about. That's
Yeah.
what's up. I guess there wouldn't be any reason why some citizens couldn't put together their own kind of housing committee and make some moves. Why,
No.
why we got to wait on Omaha's housing authority on stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. I guess really the question is, Omaha try to block it.
um, I don't know why they would. I mean, maybe they would. Who knows? But I can't off the top of my head think of why they would. Or why would we would even have to acknowledge that if we were gonna make our own? Why would we even have to acknowledge that? You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. Like, yeah.
Brother Knight in the chat. Good morning. He says that's how reparations and casino dollars work. Yeah, but even before those dollars, is there's I guess to me, what I've been moving towards, what definitely been feeling like trying to move for Sky and other friends and family of mine towards is pooling money, turn it becoming an investment club even. We do it all the time when we have to put out GoFundMe's and stuff like that for stuff that happens when people pass away and you're paying for funerals. I mean, there's dollars that circulate with us that could go if focused on some things that might on some of the plans and some of the actions that we want to try to take out there. So I don't. I mean, even before getting reparations, and there's all the tribes aren't getting casino dollars quite yet either. There's a lot of tribes that are not connected. But I will say what I learned about Ho Chunk, which is a corporation of several different tribes, I believe. They are working towards they're a part of the whole casino thing that's coming up too, and they're trying to get all the tribes some money, and they have some tribes, you know what I'm saying? So they have some their tribes are getting the money as it continues on. But the point is, even before you get there, these plans are being made. I mean, this is something we did thought about something like this back in 2017, and then here we have brothers senators Justin Wayne and Terrell McKinney getting $335 million into North Omaha. Then it's like the plans are ready. Now let's take advantage of what money that we can bring in for whatever reason, that type of thing. So yeah, but it might be a good example to take and maybe talk to the brothers and find out all the steps that they took to get to here, and think about that for our own communities.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it's definitely we've been kind of talking about that for a while, as far as the need to increase the conversation and just the communication between communities. I mean, we should definitely tap in and see what are the strengths of our brothers and sisters on the reservations, and what are some of the weaknesses that we could possibly help with, and the same with North Omaha and South Omaha. That's why we're trying to push this East Omaha narrative to galvanize the communities.
Mhm.
So we have a lot more in common than we might even know.
Very
Um,
true. Very true.
yeah, so
Amy,
definitely would love to get more information.
Amy H. Dot in the chat says Ho Chunk is just Winnebago.
Okay.
So I appreciate that clarification. I'd like to talk to you more about that too. I talked to somebody that was in Winnebago that was saying that Ho Chunk was, yeah, primarily. What I got from the conversation is they were primarily one tribe, but they were doing business with other tribes, or trying to build up things with all the surrounding tribes. But I don't know enough about it to be able to speak on it. But that's just kind of like the conversations that I was having. That's what I gleaned from it. But I know that there's people out there that know more, like Amy H. Dot. I definitely want to talk to you about that, and we can even bring some folks on too. That's always an option for us. We've been talking about doing that anyway. So I'd love to talk to somebody from Ho Chunk. They've been in the news a lot lately for a lot of moves being made. I'd love to hear about their philosophy and ways of doing things too. So maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, definitely. And as far as the financing for this specific project, it is been reported that the project will be financed by Indian Housing Block Grant dollars. A competitive Indian community development block grant will cover the cost of the community center, which will include a storm shelter and a backup generator. So
Yeah,
again,
we,
block
we
grant
got we got
dollars.
block grant dollars here too.
Man, but what's the plan? What is the plan? And we talk about that when that North Omaha Block Grant comes up. We're talking about who's going to apply for it. If you have any ideas, here's the funds. Here it is. But have you put together the idea? What's the plan?
Yeah.
And is it really that's more importantly? What's the plan? Is it more than just an idea? Have you fleshed it out? Have you done your research? Have you put together? Can we really make this thing happen?
I'm glad you said that too. Thinking about the what just happened here, what is happening here with the 1024 money. So the several hundred millions of dollars that's coming into North and South Omaha, that we've been talking about this whole season, this whole show. Man, I'm having a lot of glitch problems today.
Yeah,
This whole season, this whole show. We put our name in the hat too in order to receive some of those funds in order to build out the media. We were suggested $0 on ours. So, what we did instead of really tripping about it was like go ask, try to find out why. What we've been finding out is that the way that we applied. We should have done the application process differently than we did it. I'm the one that filled out the application, and since I have been filling out grant applications since 2016, since we started doing Mind and Soul over at Malcolm X Memorial Foundation. I was raising money for that Mind and Soul program. Mm-hmm. They're a nonprofit organization, so I've been doing filling out grants in that way. That's a different way than putting together a business plan, putting together a plan that you write out that will show what kind of money that you will be making, what kind of impact, and so on and so forth. So one of the things is that I'm glad it snapped us back into thinking about how to plan these things out without thinking about what kind of free, grant dollars you're going to get for it. Mm-hmm. Snapping back to that entrepreneurial business mind of writing out a business plan, which includes how you're supposed to be making money in the future and so on and so forth. So that just in just making plans in general, like we can talk about these things and have these good ideas, but sitting down and writing a plan out of those ideas is the second step. And that plan, if that plan is complete enough, then it's really like when the money comes, you're ready to roll.
Right. And that's usually when the money comes, when the plan is complete enough and people, can see the big picture, like, oh, okay, yeah, I could put my dollars behind that. But if it's just an idea and I'm thinking about it, and, if we're a community and we're not even used to even being given an opportunity to be even, to even have the dollars, we have never been in the mind state. It's really a constant position of scarcity.
But the thing that we've been learning here in the past 2 seasons, especially, is that there's always money out there. There's always dollars to be had. We haven't even ventured into stuff that has to do with small business associations, small business loans, large business loans. All the ways that the money is always constantly flowing. It's not like if sometimes it feels like it's being hoarded in one section, mm-hmm. in one area, and it's not flowing like water to the next, but it's always flowing. And it may not be flowing to us; it may be flowing past us to somebody else that's in the same camp, and then mm-hmm. flow back around. But you can always jump into that stream and catch that flow if you got a plan, if you got something going on. There's always something there,
right?
So yeah, just learning that is a trip.
Yeah, I mean that's the only way that the money works, and we're talking about these Fed dollars, and we've been talking about Fed now, and the way that money works, I would say on the surface is changing, but money is these fiat notes. That's not money. Money is just the measurement of energy and how it's transferred from person to person.
Yeah.
And how we therefore exchange that transfer or that utility, but that it has to flow. Again, it's all about the current. It's all about that. So I'll just say this: I'm not going to leave it at because we're black, because we're people of color, because we're minorities, because we're disenfranchised on the fringes, that we don't have access to it. Because there was, not just Black Wall Street. That was just one. There are many communities across the country that was able to thrive. And I mean, North Omaha did it at one point, mm-hmm. and then it was torn down. But we can build it again.
Yeah, and there's a lot of successful businesses out there that we can pay attention to as well in all the communities, in Black, Brown, Indigenous. I mean, we're just reading one about what this particular Ponca tribe is doing right now. So I mean, there's examples out there. There's money out there. There's definitely we have not been paying attention to it as much, and focusing on one aspect of it, especially here, this nonprofit town that we got here. And, we've been focusing on that $40,000 or whatever that kind of grants that are out there that everybody fighting for, as if there's no more money around anywhere else but that's kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like it's easy to get caught up with that because that's all that's being presented. So one of the goals for me for First Sky Omaha was to present these other ways, these other avenues for resources and everything else. It's not just one source of money that can come into 24th and Lake looks, is like a nonprofit corner of the city right now, because most businesses that are there are not-for-profit businesses, but that's not the only way.
Right.
So, it's interesting to say. Mama God in the chat says, please get with successful grant writers to finalize everything before presenting. Yep, for grants, yes, absolutely. And I think what we're trying to do now is recognize that it's not just about the grant writing, but it's about the business plan making. And so we're working with financial consultants, Julian Young, and those guys are helping us put together the business plans as well. They're the ones that because there's just those are the original resources. That's where things get started. Family foundations make a bunch of money, and then all of a sudden they decide, for tax reasons and stuff, decide to give some of that away, and that's where the grants come from. But business is where it all comes from in the beginning. So we have to get back to that as well. She also says, Mama God also says, will that center by airport be a good resource for our businesses?
It could be.
I mean, it's more. It's supposed to draw more jobs to North Omaha. Which is a good thing. Hopefully, and the manufacturer or the big companies that they're trying to draw, most likely will be will provide higher paying jobs as well. So I think so. It seems like it'll be a good resource. I heard that there was going to be places that other businesses can be open there, not just the big major industries you're trying to bring to that area, but other small businesses, and still great access to North Omaha, to downtown, to Iowa. I mean, the positioning seems good. Not in manufacturing as well, because there's all kinds of it's right next to the airport.
Yeah, but it's not just that even that airport center. Also, some of the big things that came out of that report that I was excited about, even though we got a big fat zero. There was some love being shown to this. I forget the name of it, but there is an effort that's on the dock for 100 organizations to get $100,000. That's what they petitioned for. I don't think they got the full amount that they asked for, but they're going to be resources that comes out, even if you don't get directly funded from this LB 1024. They might fund a business resource center that you can there go for and apply for $100,000 for your business through that center. So there will be funding available through that, not directly, but you can. They will create organizations and resources that you can therefore go to as a community member. And then I know Senator McKinney is pushing for an innovation center, which will have funding resources, business plan writing resources, just business development resources and things like that. So those types of resources might not necessarily only be in the airport park, but those ideas are will be coming out of LB 1024.
And not just that, really, we've been beyond LB 1024 for a while now.
Yeah, there's more money coming.
Yeah, they've been working on, both the centers have been working on getting several millions of dollars to come into North and South Omaha on a regular basis every year. And so when they talk about ideas and things that might happen now, they're not even talking 1024 money anymore. They're talking about the other money that they've already started asking for, the regular money that they're trying to bring into the scene, because it's there. There's surpluses of actually billions of dollars in Nebraska that were supposed to go to be able to help business, to help low income folks, and so on and so forth. There's all kinds of resources that are there that the senators are in there trying to fight for to bring to our community, and not just state money but federal money. So, I mean, that's the thing. There's always a flow happening.
and it's not even like do they want to give it to you or not. Sometimes they don't have any choice. They have to solve problems and solve things that are happening within the state because sometimes the federal government is watching and like, hey, what do you guys got to do something. I mean, that's their reasoning behind this other jail. Is the feds came in and said you got overcrowding, you got to do something about it. And instead of them, letting folks out, they say, well, we'll take the resources and build another jail, and then another jail after that. So, there's always money that has to flow, and we should just keep on trying to figure out, how it's not even a figure out. It's like get our own ducks in order is the key. Make our own solid plans so that when that stuff comes, it comes and we're ready to go on it.
Yeah, and there's some venture capitalists, like minority space and venture capitalism is growing, especially for women. So let's take advantage.
Moving on, 7:40 already. If you believe in the concept of time, thanks for everybody that's jumped in. Gwen Easter gives us a good morning over there on Facebook. Appreciate you coming on in. Again, if you're on Facebook, do us a favor and share the show on your page. I can't remember how to share the show on YouTube. I think they have a
you can just share button.
Social thing now. Yeah, you can share it. Yeah, I guess you can share button. But yeah, do us a favor, share it so we can get as many people in on the conversations as we can. It is News Monday right now, April the 24th. Lots in the news. If you guys have seen anything in the news in this past week or weekend, let us know. Drop it in the chat. We think we got a couple some avenues covered though, based on some of the things that you've put in the Friends of First Sky Omaha and some of the things that's in national news as well. So
yeah, man.
Let's move on. What you got next?
Yeah, in other news, but kind of sticking with the same theme, communities doing for self, and we're moving to North Omaha because residents have responded to this whole OPPD coal situation. Again, we've been trying to get OPPD to close down their North Omaha coal burning site for years now, and again, the can is continually being kicked down the road, and now residents are stepping up to install air quality monitors in the neighborhood, a move designed to empower citizens as, again, coal burning continues in the area, which was decided back in August when OPPD decided that it would determine that they needed to delay the closing of that for technical reasons, and that conversation is still going, but partially due to permitting and approval the process of delays from the switch to coal to, I believe, gas is what they're trying to change to. But big shout out to the Nebraska Sierra Club, who has teamed up with the residents to install a purple air monitor, which blocks away from the plant. More monitors are expected to be added soon further out in the community. But the purple air monitors provide the ability to measure air quality in real time, collecting particle pollution for hyperlocal networks. This is, again, advantages because data from OPPD, the Nebraska Department of Environmental and Energy, and the Douglas County Health Department have not made those numbers readily available. That's according to John Crabtree, who's Nebraska Beyond Coal campaign representative for the Sierra Club. So we actually don't know how polluted that area is. We just know that there is a connection, and we know some of the long-term effects that, like we talked about, like asthma, other developmental issues from coal. But now these purple air monitors give you, again, the ability to measure that in real time and see exactly what's going on. So maybe from, once we get more data, exactly how polluted the air is, maybe OPPD will move a little faster, but we'll see. We'll see. But big shout out to, again, the Sierra Club and the residents in North Omaha for at least doing something for self.
That's a good idea. That's real. I'm happy to hear that, man. Because whenever we talk about this, and Miss Easter in the chat says, how can we get information about the OPPD issue? Mm-hmm. I think where the information that we got, we garnered from some articles that were out about it, but we also talked to Precious McKesson, and Kimra Snipes. Yeah, they were both involved in some of those talks. So when they come on Wednesday, you can ask them questions that you have. I'm sure they'll be able to answer that. But we'll look around for some more resources on exactly what's going on here and the efforts that has been going on to get that plant shut down. Because I can't remember right off the top of my head who led those efforts, but those it's been a constant thing over the past couple decades actually. and they keep doing this thing where they say they'll shut it down by such and such a time. They get there, they get to that time, and they say, well, we're not quite ready to do that yet. We don't really have the other resources or whatever, so they kick the can down the road again. And every 3 or 4 or 5 years, they have another conversation, and they make another promise, and then that promise never comes. That just happened this I believe last year,
August.
In August. So that's why they were there. Miss Kimmer Snipes and Precious McKesson, I believe they were in those conversations as well, because it was another cycle of them kicking it down the way again. But yeah, we'll definitely try to look at some resources and try to find who's been heading those efforts up. I really trip on this. Everybody I know, seems like everybody I know in my, well, not everybody, I guess that's dramatic, but a lot of people, some family members included, seems like more than not have asthma issues out here.
Oh yeah, it's a thing.
Real. I'm talking about real, like, debilitating asthma, like the kind of asthma I had a friend, a drummer friend of mine in California that passed away from an asthma attack, and his asthma is as bad as some of these people that I know out here.
I had a cousin who was in a coma from an asthma attack. Who lives in Omaha.
So that was the first thing that just kind of, you always take the examples from what this anecdotal kind of information, and that was what I came up with, was that, like, is anybody doing that study? What is the cold doing to the community as far as asthma is concerned? As soon as I was wondering that, we did a story about the babies with the brain cancer.
Yeah.
They were attributing that there's more children that have brain cancers and stuff like that due to, they were saying, because of the atmosphere, the environment, the cold, and everything that's in the air. And they were trying to do a study to see what effects was happening with children in North Omaha that was suffering from those things. There was more instances of babies with this kind of particular brain cancer because of the coal plant. So, yeah. So this, we constantly hear these things. So this news is really great. How they're you want to do something? Well, let's first figure out how to read how much coal is in the air.
Man, it's kind of the big thing.
Yeah.
Because the main, organizations that are supposed to at least, this the communications, the lack of communication, that's kind of across the board when we talk about these things. I mean, again, as this article states, the OPPD, Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy, and the Douglas County Health Department all do not give out this data. Again, we like you said, we know the anecdotal data. We kind of get the big picture, long term effects. We know air pollution can lead to asthma, according to the Sierra Club. Not only asthma, but more blood clots, heart attacks, lung cancer, diabetes, premature death. All of these things can be attributed to air pollution. So again, how bad is it really? Like, what is the real data? And OPPD does actually, they did release a statement. It says, while OPPD does perform the required monitoring and stack testing at the plant, we know that air quality is impacted by many variables. OPPD appreciates citizens' input on this topic. We are proud that our employees, retirees, and family members also live in a community where the station has produced reliable electricity for the nearly 70 years. So you can kind of glean what you want from that statement. But again, I'm taking out the fact that they state that they do the monitoring and testing. But again, residents still don't know. At least they should be sending out mailers, something, especially if they can send out information about the bill. Like you can have some kind of pollution data on the bill as well, right?
I don't know. Maybe they do. Let me see if I can find a bill around here.
Yeah.
I doubt that they're
if I'm wrong, please correct me. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Yeah. But I would go on a limb to say if they did, then people wouldn't be going out of their way to put these air monitors on their house.
Or are they trying to match it up to what numbers? I just don't know what they're saying. I haven't gotten a bill in the mail I've signed up for email bills, but I haven't really looked at those.
even if it comes in an email.
I mean,
Again,
they have a whole magazine that they put out and everything. Like
really,
OPPD, yeah, OPPD does like a big magazine style newsletter every once in a while in the mail about.
does anybody get it?
Does anybody read it? I think everybody gets it. Does anybody read it is the real question. Gwen Easter said that she wants the information she wants to share that with the commissioners on Commission on African American Affairs. I believe that event is coming up as well. So yeah, I would suggest when Precious and Kimmer come on, put some respect on their name. Excuse me, Miss Precious McKesson and Miss
Hey.
Kimmer come on to the show to definitely ask them about that. They might have some ideas on resources as well on where else to be able to dig into that. But it's
Well, well, I will say if you have any more questions, there are some events coming up. According to this article, next week, sometime the Sierra Club will help install a purple air monitor at the Boss radio station. So the Boss will be there, and the purple. The Sierra Club will be there with the purple air monitors. Organizers are also eyeing a North Omaha elementary school as a future
I think
location.
everybody needs to have them.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But again, shout out to the Sierra Club. I'm pretty sure you can reach out to them if you have any questions or are interested in getting a air monitor in your home. Again, if you don't, or excuse me, if you live in the kind of the Florence area around the stack, or maybe even further out to the Miller Park area, again, you might want to consider a air monitor.
I would consider even further than that. I mean, I go
Really?
all the way. Yeah, I go all the way north, bro. Like that's air quality stuff. That stuff ain't just gonna be limited to one area. It's gonna
True.
flow out.
I mean, you think it'll go all the way out to like Northwest?
Well, the cousins of mine that got them heavy asthma problems don't live right next to the plant. They live closer to like 60th and Ames or military. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, this is a bigger problem than just the people that are just right around the plant. I believe.
Well, these air monitors will give us the full picture
Yeah.
because again, OPBD ain't
We need that. Who said that? That woman said I do both. You talking about that little magazine, the little OPPD magazine? She said it's a dry read. Pretty bad, dude. And it's not going to talk about the problems. It's an
Right,
OPPD
right.
magazine. They're not going to talk about we're polluting y'all. They're not going to put articles on how to deal with the asthma in the area.
Yeah, right. That's great.
Linda Latham in the house. What's going on?
Hey.
I appreciate you. Says, no, we don't. Yeah, good morning. Good morning to you too. Tanaya Patterson said they will never be open. They continue to say the high rates across the board of disease is black folk eating habits.
But see, this is where this keeps coming up, and I keep asking for questions, and I'm not really hearing a lot of fanfare, a lot of reports. What does it mean when the Douglas County Health Department acknowledges that health is a health, like it was a health? What is the terminology? They determine that health is a racism issue, or is
Racism is a health
crisis?
crisis, right?
Yeah. So exactly what does that mean? Like, how did exactly what does that mean? Because you get what I'm saying? Like how does racism impact the health of those who are being oppressed?
I just read an article yesterday that said that poverty is the third leading cause of death in America.
Yeah, man.
So that's people being homeless, being out of having no health care. That's all the reasons that are associated with poverty. Everything. It's the third leading cause of death.
Yeah, man. I mean, having to live in deplorable conditions because your landlord won't do their job.
Very true. Mama Guy said they'll address it in the newsletter after their butt gets sued.
Man, that part.
Stu Brother Knight says excess stress. Yeah, man.
That can do it too, man.
Most deaf.
So
So anyway, yeah, this to me this is a positive step, definitely a good step. I would definitely like to see more of these purple monitors around and kind of really keep do your own data on it. That's something I want to introduce too. That I'm glad that we were talking about gathering data on things, because what I'm working on right now is a way for us to do some surveying of our own here on First Sky Omaha. We're probably gonna start this in season 6. But for those chat chimers and ghost listeners out there, I'm working on during the show. We come up with situations like this. We might ask a question like, what would you be interested in getting one of these purple monitors? Yes, no, I don't care boxes, and then you can check one, and then we'll have, then maybe we'll have some numbers here, some data of our own that says this is what it is that our constituents are saying or they want or whatever. We get enough people on the thing that may be the thing that we use to do to generate some movement on an issue as well. So something that you might think is important. And then we say, oh, okay, well, there's like 400 of us that are saying this. That's enough people to be like, let's move on something. Let's make a plan or do something. So
get a petition started.
Yeah,
get something on the bill.
Because I find myself when I'm out in public and people are asking me stuff like, what do the people who are listening to your show think on this stuff? Well, it seems like the majority of us lean this way. Blah blah blah, and I always feel a little bit short. Like I'd like to actually see some numbers. Like this is Well, we asked 120 people, and 90 of them said this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's all anecdotal every time I'm talking to anybody. So I think that will work to our advantage as well. Because just for our own sake, if there's an issue here that enough of us are passionate about, then that can inspire some movement. And so I'd like to see that. Hard data sometimes really makes the difference between whether or not you decide to act on a thing or not. So we'll work on that. Next season, we'll drop some of that. They'll make it easy for everybody to be able to do it. Who's chiming into the chat, and listening in. I'll keep on working on that till we get there. In the chat, real quick, Gwen Easter says we need one on 30th Street because I've been concerned about the tall tower behind the 75 North Learning Center that all of a sudden appearing during the 2020 and 2021 shutdown, and no community residents was told it was going up. I remember people was complaining about having headaches and sinus problems. Okay, so yes, some specific areas that might need to be looked at here for this for effects of the coal burning plant on North Omaha. Also, that woman, Miss Erica Felt, says, I would love to have one for the play school. There's a big field behind me, and I know they spray fertilizers and weed killers. When they do, I bring the children inside. Yeah, that's those purple monitors will be good for the coal plant, but yeah, there should be other kinds of monitors around if they're just going to be spraying stuff and doing stuff in the neighborhoods. Like we don't have any way to monitor what the air quality or land quality is around us. Definitely need to check it out for sure. So, moving on, Brother Knight in the chat on YouTube, alcohol, sex, material consumption, drugs, religion, or arguing in some fashion about not wanting to be black.
He's talking about the stress. He's kind of going on about the stress. And really that there might be something to that as far as just, even beyond societal, just the mitochondrial DNA and the PTSD that's passed down from generation to generation. There is definitely some, inherent mental health things that should be explored as far as just the generational cultural oppression.
Buddy, you should you mentioned that thing a lot. That I remember when they announced that, and then we talked a lot about it, and then you bring it up every so often. We ought to go back and look at that declaration of what that the racism is a mental health. We should find that report, and take a look at that a little bit more closely and discuss that.
I don't hear enough about it, and it's a big thing.
There was, as a matter of fact, they had somebody black at this that was working at the at the what's the organization that put that study out?
I think it was the Douglas County Board or the Douglas County Health Commission.
Health Commission, right. Who did we have? We had a contact over there that keeps.
Yeah, it was somebody. We had spoke to somebody who was there, Jamming. I think Joaquin Jamming or something like that.
That's right. They had just hired him.
Yep.
Came out, spoke on it once.
Yep.
And then disappeared. Yeah. Okay. So remember we used to have during COVID, especially during COVID, we used to have somebody from that department over named
Phil Rooney.
He just got in contact with us recently talking about it. We should be back he should be back on talking about some of these things that are going on, even though COVID is different than it was. It's still going on, and yeah, he might be a person that we can kind of talk to about some of this stuff and get some questions answered too about the environment, because they don't just come on dealing with COVID. They're coming on dealing with every disease that's happening in our neighborhoods in the city. So it might be something that might be get with him and get back on it. We'll see what's going on. And then find out about this thing. I really want us to go find that report again about racism being like this mental health or this health crisis in the Black community.
Yeah, I mean, it might be something to it to get, because I know those purple monitors aren't free. It might be something to it, and maybe get some of those.
And you still talking about the cold stuff, but I want to know about this mental health, this racism as a mental health crisis. I want to go back and find those reports. You mentioned those a lot, so we need to go find those. Real quick, Von Chapman in the chat on Facebook says, "Good morning. Good morning to you." Says once the monitor detects bad air, well, what should people in the targeted community do? What will OPP do?
Great question. Great question.
Yep. Mr. Eric Fell says, I look at the air quality on my phone daily before we go out, but that's not monitoring coal or farm chemicals, but usually the burning effects. About once a week, it's too high for littles to be out.
Yeah, and apparently these things are like goes on your window. Like it tells you about outside. I feel like if you're checking on your phone, then it's more of a general kind of reading. But like these purple monitors is directly what's outside your window. It's telling you what's right outside your house.
Yeah.
What is the air pollution right now that you're breathing?
Yeah, we need more of that.
Yeah.
We need home lead monitors, home air monitors, everything.
Man, to that point, Von Chapman says environmental racism is real and OPPD is guilty as hell. Man.
Right. Brother Nice says, look it up, racism and stress, most deaf. He says it was a national report, I think. Yeah, I feel like we had it pulled at one point. Didn't we know that? Yeah, we did. Of course.
Yeah, we knew it. And that's why I keep talking about it.
Been living it. He said, if you find high levels of air toxins, find an environmental lawyer and begin a class action lawsuit. That's one thing you can absolutely.
ACLU.
Yeah, they need something else to jump on besides what.
Yeah. Holler at Daniel Conrad.
Let's make those people mad, but
let's make it happen.
It is. It is already 8:02, so we're in the second hour now of First Sky Omaha in the morning. All be Buddi3 Da Gawd chat chimers, those listeners. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come on back and jump into some more stories. It is News Monday right now, April 24th, 2023. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Yes, see in the DS. See. Welcome back. You're listening to Lunchtime Live on 101.3 FM, Mind and Soul. My name is Paul B. I got Buddi3 Da Gawd. I'm just playing.
Okay.
that track took me back a little bit to the...
Man, okay. Man, good.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man, Aggie Kid. Shout out to Jose Knox, who cooked that up.
Yeah, man. Squad.
Welcome
back. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
And
we are with you today on this News Monday.
Yeah.
April 24th, 2023. If there's news that has stood out in your minds over this past week or weekend, let us know. Drop it in the chat. Whatever's on your heart and mind, drop it in the chat. As you know, this is a discussion show, so we are here to discuss the things that is on your minds. We want to know what's going on, and we want to talk about it so we can come to some solutions and come to some action items.
There you go.
This is all about. So shout out to everybody who is a part of that. Moving on, like I said, 8:04 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, buddy, what you thinking about talking about next?
Man, let's go ahead and jump. We in the kind of the heart of the show and the meat and potatoes. So let's jump into the heavy news of the day, man. We've been keeping it light, jumped into some good news, and I definitely wanted to start off the Monday, with high spirits. But we got to talk about what's going on, man. I don't know if any of you heard it, but a bombshell dropped on the city council over the weekend, on the city really over the weekend, talking about these FBI indictments coming down on Omaha City Councilman Vinny Palermo and also several former Omaha police officers. Yeah, they were arrested. The whole perp walk, the mug shots were released. The whole criminal situation.
Everything Trump didn't get when he got
Man, exactly. You're picking up what I'm putting down. Very, very interesting. And of course, nothing has been proven, but it's not looking good. We'll be honest about that one. Big shout out to our partners over at the Reader, Chris Baby Boy Bowling, reporting on this one. Omaha City Councilman Vinny Palermo accordingly took gifts of airfare, luxury hotel accommodations, travel arrangements, and other items in exchange for political favors. Again, according to new federal court documents and apparently wiretaps that have been, gaining information and data on the whereabouts and the haps of those involved. And not just Councilman Vinny Palermo, but also retired Omaha Police Captain Rich Gonzalez, who is a brother of former Greg Gonzalez. Thank you, former sheriff candidate Greg Gonzalez. Thank you. Also, Jack Olson, who apparently provided Council Vice President Palermo with personal and financial gifts in exchange for political support. These gifts range from flights to San Diego, Houston, Denver, and Minneapolis to nearly $3,000 spent on quote unquote dining and entertainment for Councilman Palermo. Palermo did not disclose these gifts to the Nebraska Accountability and Disclosure Commission or the fact that he had a conflict of interest with the Latin Police Officers Association, which again, former Omaha Police Captain Rich Gonzalez was a part of, the indictment alleges. In total, Palermo allegedly helped the LPOA get $60,000 or just over $60,000 through his association with the South Omaha Turnback Tax Committee, a group designed to redistribute extra state funds to impoverished communities. They're putting all their pieces of the puzzle together, according to Palermo, who told Gonzalez in a wiretap phone call on October 14th, apparently alleging or discussing the investigation. Other allegations include defrauding donors to the police officers, or excuse me, the Latin Police Officers Association, and also PACE, which is the police athletic organization, according to Johnny Palermo's indictment. Olson would solicit donations for the LPOA under the name Cody Jones, saying every penny would go toward athletic programs for underprivileged children. However, again, Walmart, there's an indictment that includes a Walmart price tag of $60,000, some wholesale $50,000, Shields $1,000, also $11,000 to the Catholic Archbishop of Omaha. But in reality, about 65 to 80% of those thousands of dollars went back to Jack Olson himself. More than $500,000 between 2018 and 2022, according to this article. So again, not looking good in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have a couple people put this in Friends of First Sky Omaha. I know that the general consensus is, we're here we want to hold our elected leaders and everybody accountable. Mayor Stothard got on TV asking him to resign, step down. Which one was the one in the city council member? That was
Vinny Palermo.
Yeah, Palermo, right. And so, this is, and of course, like Buddy mentioned too, they did the whole thing, man. They're in the newspaper in their orange jumpsuits already. It's a very public situation that is going on here. And one of the things that we keep them on going back to and not leaving out. We had brother Greg Gonzalez on the show. He's a friend of First Sky Omaha. He's been on the show a couple times. We know about his situation with he was running for sheriff, and there was, he felt like he was being attacked by the sheriff's department. His wife was being attacked by the police department. His wife, Miss Gonzalez, was sued sued Chief Smotter and the police department over passing her over for passing her over in the jobs that she was qualified for. They ruled against the police department on that. She actually won that case, and they've been feeling very persecuted. That family's been feeling very persecuted by law enforcement because of the things that they've gone through, and they mentioned that a lot when they came onto the show. He's one of the reasons why I'm running for sheriff, because if they're doing this to us who's in law enforcement, what are they doing to people that's not?
Right.
Not that any of those things are associated with what's going on with this case, but it's just interesting timing. It's interesting the way that it looks, the kind of publicity that it's getting, for the brother of that family to be a part of this thing. So it's we got to mention some of that. But as Buddy also mentioned, doesn't look good. There's a supplemental article I put in that talked about some of the things that was being said over the wiretap.
Yeah, man.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can dive into some of that because that is pretty damning evidence as far as recorded conversations. You can't really shake out of that one too much.
Right.
Again, there are clips and quotes of them alluding to the conversation. Again, on October 14th, 2022, there is a quote from a wiretap phone call in the article saying they're putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. Again, kind of alluding that they know something is up. Also, the FBI intercepted a number of calls and texts between Council Vice President Vinny Palermo and former police officer Johnny Palermo, and also retired Captain Rich Gonzalez. Again, some of the questions are again on October 14th from that conversation. Have you ever received money from them? One of the Vinny Palermo was asked, to which he said no. And then he picked up the phone to call Johnny Palermo. At the time, Johnny was president of the Latin Police Officers Association, and Rich Gonzalez, again, brother of Greg Gonzalez, was executive director of PACE. Though Vinny and Johnny were the same last name, they are not related. The two discussed their trip to Houston, of course, hotel rooms, plane tickets, the whole trip. Vinny Palermo also voiced that he was worried that investigators would be digging into that trip, or whether he had properly reported their arrangements or not. So again, it's not sounding very innocent, if you will. Also, there are some character things that are coming out as far as the anti-Semitic language that's being discussed. On the wiretap, it said questions about a Jewish individual that was discussed.
I don't really want us to get into all that too much.
Yeah. But again, a lot of things are coming out.
So the personal things that I don't, a lot of things are coming out. It's still all alleged. This is all alleged. They have not gone to court for any of these things yet. But yeah, it kind of doesn't sound too great. What's happening here? Tanaya Patterson says it kind of what I'm thinking about. She says it's all retaliation.
Yeah.
But when all doing dirt or indirect, indirect or indirectly, fair game at some point. So it is, yes. And like Brother Von Chapman too says, is that type of accountability scrutiny happening or required for every group receiving funds in Omaha? Probably should be some level of scrutiny for every group, but I absolutely don't think that that's the case.
Right.
I think when it comes to black and brown, people in this state, then there's a level of scrutiny that happens, that a double and triple level of scrutiny that happens. But if you are not doing things the way you're supposed to be doing them, then you can't. What can you do about that? You have to. You can't really claim, is everybody getting scrutinized this closely? If you're actually doing dirt, you can say that if you ain't doing dirt. But if you are doing dirt, which I'm not saying they are, I'm just saying like, if that is the case, then it's hard to say, it's hard to use that argument. But I do believe that there should be some scrutiny. There should be some scrutiny for a lot of organizations.
Well, I mean, I will say not necessarily doing dirt, but it's been proven that Schmatter is doing wrong. I mean, he just got out of a court case.
He got hit with $1 million.
Exactly. So to that point, I do find it interesting, and it does, kind of smell like a little retaliation when you get into that part,
Right.
as far as who's being held accountable, who's not, and who's
Right.
saying what.
What they
Again, it's
call
very interesting.
it's kind of a natural human thing to me. Sometimes when you think about it like that, you think, well, who? Okay, they just got me for some stuff. I mean, what are they doing? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
how they
yeah.
not gonna closely look at what's going on with it? You know what I'm saying? How they not gonna closely look at what's happening after they lost the case where they owe somebody, they owe that family $1 million now because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
And again, Stothert putting out a statement as well. She says a council member under federal, because again, as a result of this, council president Vinny Palermo, or vice president Vinny Palermo, has been asked to step down. We have not mentioned
mhm.
that, but of course
Yeah,
he
we
has
did.
been asked to step down.
Hmm.
Council member under federal indictment for numerous complaints relating to criminal conspiracy, fraud, and public corruption, cannot be entrusted with spending taxpayer money, making decisions that impact public safety, and the many other responsibilities that come with public office. But again, talk about accountability. This is coming from a woman who spends half her time out of town, so it's like,
And in the government, in a local government that helps pay for people to get seats, and all the stuff that we know that they're just blatantly saying that they do. It's kind of a little bit of the culture here. I think about places like Detroit, where there was so much corruption in the government there because it was just kind of the culture to be corrupt.
mm-hmm.
And from the top down, it was going down. Same kind of thing here. So I definitely and then also the thing about him being asked to step down. The article mentioned there was he was in there voting and stuff in favor of some of these, allegedly some of these organizations and friends of his. He's swaying things because of their because he's trying to help them in certain circumstances is what's being alleged. And so, if you're in a position where you're in if you're in a seat that way and you have some power and some influence, then it definitely is something that you need to be taking a look at who it is that those persons are related to, or who are what they're the groups that they're associated with, and if they're swaying your votes on things. So that's definitely a issue as well. Anybody who was in there doing that, I feel like would definitely need to be scrutinized or asked to step down or whatever. So, there's a lot to it. We really just kind of wanted to put it out there because it's a thing that's in the news that's pretty heavy. We had some thoughts that we had developed over some time that was associated with that, based on some of the things that Greg Gonzalez told us, and also just to kind of see what's going on with that situation, being as these are South Omaha. South Omaha organizations and people that it's just really interesting to me, the level of scrutiny, the way we've never seen anybody. I've never opened up the newspaper and seen dudes standing in orange jumpsuits that were, what I'm saying, like Vinny Palermo. So council person Amy H. Dot says, I've heard negative things about Vinny and Johnny. Everyone should be held accountable equally. Yeah, you hear negative things sometimes. I know that Vinny Palermo, I believe, is Kimmer's district is what he was over Kimmer's district
Yeah.
where she lives. She's talked about him a lot.
She's got some words.
Yeah, and we'll definitely talk to her on Wednesday about that too, because I'm sure that she'll have some things to say. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Brother Knight says Schmatter probably knew that investigation was going on. That's possibly why he denied promotions for that lady. I don't think, no. That's not what that came out of that court case.
Yeah. I do feel like if that was yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know.
I mean,
It's possible, but
anything is possible.
Yeah.
Von Chapman says equal accountability across the board in Omaha city government has never happened, but should.
Right.
I agree.
Ideally.
Tanaya Patterson said, but racial nuance here is when things hit the fan, right? And the racial nuance. Thank you for saying that. That's what this word I was trying to come up with.
Man, eloquently put.
It's different strokes for different folks. Also eloquently put, Sly and the Family Stone. Even though they are white, me will still be framed as those people, i.e., Latino Italian criminal stigmas. Right. So they got the Latinos and the Italians plotting to steal $60,000 so they can eat gabagool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. There's the in this state that's it's all these criminal brown folks all the time. That's the narrative all the time.
Yeah.
Like me.
I do want to go back to Mama God's comment. That is kind of interesting. She said, saddest part about it is someone who did not get what they wanted from any of them was a person who was the whistleblower. So
I missed that.
Yeah, if you got a little more information on that, Mom Dukes, let us know.
Saddest part about it is someone who did not get what they wanted from any of them was the person who was the whistleblower. Missed that whole
Yeah, man.
right there.
Like, who was the whistleblower? That's what I'm trying to find out.
I'd like to know. Tonight Patterson says Schmatter can get away with it. He will always be given extra passes. Don't forget he's rumored to be running for mayor as well. So coming up. Mayor Sanchez says Johnny Palermo was my guy. I understand misuse of funds. No big deal. Organization that protect child predators is what I won't understand. Okay, so that's what I was waiting for. I did know that there was. I thought I remembered one of the chat chimers that would say that. So I'm glad you brought that up. He says,
Wait, what?
Johnny Palermo is my guy. He says I understand misuse of funds. No big deal. Organization that protect child predators is what I won't understand. So yeah, expand on that part a little bit more if you would. I'd like to hear what you mean by that.
Right.
Yeah. Also, Von Chapman says selective political accountability makes this suspect. Definitely. Brother Knight says she hasn't. That wasn't about race. They were some mobsters that got caught up. Okay, maybe. We have been talking about a lot more things that's been happening in behind the scenes that involve a whole lot more money than 60,000 here and 60,000 there. So I don't know. He said didn't grease the right palms. Well, that's kind of what we're talking about. That's my point. That they have been on the wrong side. Well, not them in particular, but the people that we talk to that are family of one of the guys has been on the wrong side of the greased palms, because of some other things. I mean, it was super embarrassing for Schmatter and them to get hit with that $1 million lawsuit for, denying a woman promotion in the police department. It was huge. The stuff that came out about Greg Gonzalez's opponent, the sheriff that is now the sheriff. It was huge to pull out the videotape of him putting his hands on the kid and everything else that they brought out. That was brought out in the run. So there was a lot of stuff that's going on.
Yeah, they treated that video like somebody was a thief. Like whoever
they still are. Yeah, they still are. Like who stole because it was police cam footage. So they still are trying to act like who stole it out of the police department and show everybody that. Not that it worked. He didn't win. He still didn't win. The sheriff that was exposed to have put his hands on them kids in that video won. He's now sheriff. That woman is saying, what child predator? Yeah, we're still wondering about that, Brother Sanchez. He says, misuse of funds, argumentative, Boys Town, Boy Scouts, churches, schools, cops not understanding. I don't. Might have to have a conversation with you on that so we can dig a little bit deeper on where you're coming from there on that. So anyway, long story short, as we move on to the next stuff, accountability, most definitely. We are all for that. I definitely step back a little bit and have to think about all these other things that we've talked about though too, and feel like, yeah, but is this retaliation a little bit? I mean, like, if they're guilty, then then it doesn't really matter. But at the same time, it does matter. It matters who they're picking and choosing to scrutinize, and why. how they're treated and why. Right. One last comment tonight. Patterson says, I'm just saying folks who are considered white and folks that are not considered white, though the same pale shades have been storied, and this was an easy framing under those conditions. Arresting them over the weekend, over that little money, relatively, let's be real.
$60,000 in the grand scheme. Yeah. You know,
And
we got hundreds of millions of dollars being spent on this. Like, we really didn't look into this whole Mutual of Omaha deal. Like,
or not just that, but what about the stuff that we were last year talking about? Ricketts needs to be looked at about with the
St. Francis.
St. Francis situation, millions of dollars. And again, I'm not quite clear on where they were saying the money came from. If it came out of PACE or if it came out of
Yeah, according to the article, it was supposed to. This is money that donors, like this is money that was donated. They just money that they just raised for these nonprofit, for these organizations,
Yeah.
and apparently it came from just individuals, communities, organizations, philanthropic, foundations. But it apparently went
not
to
the government.
not the government. No, it came from individuals whom they defrauded, according to these indictments.
Federal indictments.
Yeah.
Federal indictments.
That's the interesting part too. How the feds got involved with that. I would like to know. But Mama God kind of echoing what we're saying. She says, "Let you know they have bigger fish to fry."
But anyway, when's the last time you heard about any federal indictments coming down from to anybody over 60 grand? Now I know it's not just the amount of money, it's the seat that Palermo has, that seat of power that he has as well. Misusing it, and maybe misusing the funds allegedly. So there's a lot to it, but yeah, it's interesting how we always have to look at the whole reason why First Sky Omaha exists. It started from the reason why the morning show existed on Mind and Soul, which was how are things being framed? We only have one source of news that was acting like North Omaha was literally to this day still go, nobody go to North Omaha, you go over there, you get killed. Like, people say that kind of mess all the time, and it comes from like news stories, how things are framed, how they frame criminal activity, how they frame everything. We said, well, let's start our own news channel that can take other things into consideration besides this one fiery headline, and can have a more nuanced conversation about it, and come to different conclusions, come to a different narrative. And North Omaha is not a place that you need to be avoiding because you'll go there and get killed. That's a dumb narrative. Here's why, so
Yeah.
there's no way that we're not going to have that kind of conversation about stuff that happens like this. This is South Omaha we're talking about.
East Omaha.
East Omaha we're talking about. So yeah, we want people to be held accountable for absolutely sure, but like still, how does it how is this narrative? How are we? How is this being framed?
Right.
It's an important question.
Yeah. So I guess to wrap up my thoughts after hearing what you say, that kind of definitely helps me wrap my thoughts up. Like, if these guys are guilty, then they are guilty, and they should be held accountable. So we're not saying that they shouldn't, but we're also looking at the full picture and also saying, what about Stothard and him? What about everybody? Let's keep that same energy.
Yeah.
That's all we saying. Let's keep that same energy.
Yes, man, please. Yeah, so let's leave it there, man. 8:28 right now, if you believe in the concept of time. Moving on, it is News Monday right now, April 24th, 2023. We appreciate everybody that's joined us today and is in discussion about some of the things that are going on in the news. Again, we still have a little bit more time left in the show, so if you have anything on your hearts and minds, newsworthy stuff, things that you think should be headlines, maybe that hasn't been, or stuff about the headlines, discussions about the headlines that have been happening this past week or over the weekend, let us know. We definitely would like to discuss it with you. It's what we're here to do. So there was a few more things that we definitely picked out from Friends of First Sky Omaha. So thanks to everybody who's putting things in that group, but also some stuff we pulled from the news too as well. So let's move on to those things. Buddy, what you feeling like next?
Well, I actually just want to jump into, actually kind of got into this whole protecting the children thing. So what Mayor Sanchez is getting into. So there are some movements with the children that I definitely want to talk about. Some news coming out of Iowa City. Yes. So big shout out to all the students there trying to activate and trying to make some things happen. Again, it seems like there's a lot more political and civic activation and engagement from the youth nowadays. But students at Southeast Junior High School and Iowa City High School recently learned about some school shootings that happened in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and they wanted to take action as a result. So Gigi Goodvin, who's a 15-year-old freshman at City High, and Ace Drumbarger, who's a 14-year-old eighth grader at Southeast Junior High, teamed up to organize a protest last Thursday of gun violence, and more than 50 students walked out of school to participate and head to Pentacrest at the University of Iowa. Goodwin read the names of each victim of the shooting at Club Q in Colorado Springs, which was a safe haven for people who were a part of the LGBTQIA community. Drum Gardner is a transgender male and said it's really scary to know people were targeted in a place they thought were safe. At any time, anywhere I go, I could be the one who doesn't get to tell my mom goodbye. There have been 35 school shootings across the nation that resulted in injuries. So far, just in 2022, according to Education Week, throughout the United States, there have been 611 mass shootings, actually, which made last year the second worst year for gun violence in almost a decade. Um, excuse me. So, with the growing threat of gun violence, there are safer schools without adding more equipment, according to the presentation. For example, the technology could stop a potential catastrophe by detecting drawn weapons before they're being used. So, again, this actually goes right back to what's going on. What we've been talking about in Tennessee with the gun violence conversation. Senators Jones and Jones, or no, the two Justins, and that was her name. Again, speaking out about this very issue, and also President Joe Biden last week said he wants to sign into law a ban on high-powered and semi-automatic guns like AR-15s that have the capacity to kill many people. Um, hmm. Okay, I'm sorry, I kind of missed the. Okay, Intellic, which is the program that they're talking about, is a surveillance company that uses artificial intelligence to continuously scan existing surveillance cameras for potential threats. And they're talking about using this in schools.
Oh my goodness, that's all we need, AI in schools. The situation in Tennessee is what came to mind when I was checking this article out, because
Yeah.
the children out there, they jumped out there and protested, and then they were being called rioters, and people in the city council were not letting them speak, saying that they were rabble rousers, and they were calling them civil. They were just calling them names and of
Dismissing them.
dismissing them, basically. Yeah, thank you. And so that's the reason why the Justins stood up and said something, because they were like, well, we need to still, they need to be heard, and if you're not going to let them hear them, then we're going to be the ones talking, which is the reason why they got dismissed. By the way, they're both back now. Yep. But it started because the youth were out there protesting. We just had a gun law. We just had some things passed here. Open carry, no need for a license, so on and so forth. Concealed carry, those things now are legal. There's going to be more guns, more things happening here as well. I do remember there was a couple high schools that did walk out over certain issues. One of the last issues they walked out on had to do with the LGBTQ trans issue, but before that they did walk out over some gun stuff, but they not as much. And Jazari Kowal in the chat is saying that too. He says, it's always interesting to me that not a lot of youth in Nebraska are as active as some in other states. Yeah, and I do kind of see that as well. But I see a little bit of activity, but not as much as in other states. But what really stands out to me about this activity is that these students are usually a year or two away from 18, and when they get to voting, that's what they're saying. They're like, we're losing these battles now, but we're gonna win the war, because when we come back at 18 and start voting, these people will remember who said what and who did what in here.
So try to dismiss us,
right?
And that's why when we speak to Precious and Cameron, I'm constantly bringing that up. Like we we have to engage the youth to keep that thing going, and they're kind of usually the most energetic because this is all kind of new to them. As they grow into adulthood and start to make sense of the world around them more and more. This that'll be the perfect time to kind of explain those things. So we're not, trying to get it at 30, 40, and 50 years old.
Right. Kimber Snipes, this is a good morning, y'all. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Can't wait to talk to you about what's going on in South Omaha when you come on Wednesday. We've been talking about it already. Also in the chat, Von Chapman brings up some other pieces of this too. Not this particular story, but he said, "What's up with Iowa trying to circumvent child labor laws and allow children to work at jobs once determined to be too dangerous for children?"
Mm.
There's a whole bunch of questions I always have about why Iowa is doing something for real.
Yeah, I mean that's
can't
kind
get-
of
Hmm?
it's kind of going down in Nebraska too. It's not just Iowa. Again, if you remember that plant that was called out there, there's some information coming as far as um, children can work. They are kind of trying to do the same thing, not just in Iowa but in Nebraska, as far as child labor laws being eased up. And of course, we talked about not only allowing them to work, some questionable jobs, but paying them sub minimum wages.
Yeah, trying to pass a law to even be even go below minimum wage.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's craziness. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm always wondering like what the idea here is. There's a lot of legislation going around about children on all kinds of different levels.
Yeah.
Recently here too with the trans bill, they really wanted to make it so that you're not able to have a operation at if you're under 18, which is pretty. It seems pretty extreme here that a doctor and a parent wouldn't be able to make decisions. But there's other places that are going further than that.
Yeah, my point exactly. Actually, have this article that's happening in Missouri. It's
Yeah,
not just the youth, but they're going for adults too.
yeah, which is interesting. You want to jump into that?
Yeah. I mean, this would be a perfect segue for it while we're talking
Mhm.
about it. Because as always, the big question about these types of medical altering or halting, bills and bills that require and again, when you get into the territory of requiring medical professionals to, block people from surgeries and certain procedures, or giving them the ability or the option to block certain procedures on moral grounds and religious grounds, whatever that means, then you kind of get into some slippery slopes, if you will. And that's kind of the feel with this Missouri bill. Again, Missouri lawmakers are being urged to not vote for legislation that would bar what's known as gender affirming care for transgender youth. But also the 17-year-old from suburban Chelsea Fields, who was one of the ones urging lawmakers to make this decision, heard GOP lawmakers talking about how they need to pass legislation to protect people like her over and over. But she says, protect me from what? Oh no, the kids is getting better grades. Oh no, the scary transgender has friends. What are they going to do? Again, asking what is the fear. But despite the feeling, despite this youth testifying, gender affirming care has made her feel much happier and has made her heal from depression and suicidal thoughts. However, lawmakers seem poised to approve legislation that bars puberty blockers, hormone therapy, and gender transition surgery for minors. Also, um, a bombshell, Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey put forward also emergency rules that would extend that to adults. The rules are set to go into effect later this week. And if near certain litigation isn't successful, they would stay in effect until February of next year. Attorney General Bailey says the rules are meant to keep both parents of transgender youth and transgender adults more informed before receiving gender affirming care, describing it as an innovative approach for people to have all the information necessary to make good decisions. Of course, however, LGBTQ advocates across Missouri see the rule as a dramatic departure from the rhetoric used to pass a ban for minors, and that's an existential attack on transgender Missourians. Again, Robert Fisher, who is a communications director for Missouri-based advocacy group Promo, says we're living through an all-out attack on transgender Missourians' lives and the very ability to exist. Now, but again, we're talking about racism as a health disparity. And when you get into, beyond just the oppression of a certain group of people, when you start allowing doctors to block surgeries and to block certain procedures on moral grounds, you're getting into some slippery slopes.
Well, that's the reason why this stood out with me, because I won't have anything to do with transgender, but I do see how if the overall theme here is that they're saying that the government should step in between an adult and their doctor about what it is they want to do medically, and we have many examples all the way back to the Tuskegee experiments about them doing about them about that had to do with more of the doctors making those decisions. But the point is when you are your ability to be your decisions taken away for whatever reason, then that's the slippery slope that you keep on talking about. Like the slippery slope is if I decide that I need a procedure, my doctor decides, oh, yeah, that's fine, it can be done safely or whatever, then who else needs to come in between there and say whether or not I can do something? You know what I'm saying? And I just I have to approach things like that with skepticism because of the history of the way that especially people of color are treated in the health industry. Like we got to think about women who are being forced to have C-sections all the time because of what because there's entities that are saying that this is what needs to happen, or that this is what I'm saying, like against their will, things happening all the time, and this is just another example of that. Tanaya Patterson says, I believe it should be the age of consent, but also marriage, which these same states are chill on child marriage, but suddenly fake protective over transgender care. The reasoning is not consistent in conservative states. Oh, you just reminded me about me reading something about them trying to allow 12-year-olds to get married. Or I don't know if it's allow them to get married or if it's they already can get married and they're trying to protect that law. But I heard someone these days, man, I be reading through stuff and I be shaking my head so hard I can't get to the second, third paragraph on some stuff.
Man, I was just listening to like a podcast, like a clip from a podcast, and they were kind of talking about that, like how it does seem like there are some cultural shifts and there's some things that are happening culturally that are trying to normalize some things that maybe shouldn't be normalized.
Like what stands out to you?
Like what you're talking about, like
Yeah.
the marriage of children and the sexualization of children, and just certain things.
Kimber Snipes is saying, "Oh, you mean Vinny and them?" Yeah, that's what we're talking about, the federal indictments. We were talking about the federal indictments earlier, so yeah, can't wait to hear what you have to say on that. Also, Jazari Kawal in the chat. Good morning to you. He says, "I don't know about that." We were talking earlier about why kids in Nebraska are not as vocal as kids outside the states on certain things. He says, "I'm a high school substitute teacher, and like 98% don't really know much about anything happening. One class I subbed didn't even know how many Congress and Senate members Nebraska has. At another high school, some kids didn't even know what a reporter is." Oh, my goodness. Yeah, they need a little education. I don't know, man. But I also, you have that firsthand experience more than I do, but I also see stuff that's going on online with younger folks that are bringing things to my attention that's happening out here. So I think it depends on the thing. Or what rights are you getting trampled on or whatever. If they're, because we're talking about this is like gun reform. We were talking about that these kids have walked out for, as far as Iowa's concerned, because a lot of kids are really tired of having to do active shooter drills and stuff like that, and are tired of being scared going to school all the time. And if they go home and their parents say, well, they passed a bill to have more guns on the street, then they're more scared and they're going to stand up and they're going to say something about that. It affects them directly. So the only thing I can think of about why we don't get a whole lot of protesting going on about guns here is because this is gun culture territory. These kids are fine with having guns, or I don't know what the deal is, but I just know that a lot of kids came out for the transgender bill.
Mm-hmm.
Whole schools walked out and marched over that stuff. So It depends on the issue, as far as I'm concerned. Brother Knight in the chat says the idea, and we're talking about child labor laws, the idea to lower the overhead of business to spur investment in the state. They always say that wages and benefits always cost companies the most. So this is the reason why we have a minimum wage to begin with, and then they want to even have it lower for children. Mm-hmm. Tanai Patterson says, I believe it should be we talked about that already. Also, in that same state, Missouri, a rep basically rejected a minimum age limit change to the law. Yeah. Missouri is something else.
It really is. It really is.
We often draw parallels between Atlanta and Omaha, but also Kansas, Missouri, and Omaha also share a lot of. In Iowa, there's always, I can't ever figure out what's going on. Iowa seems sometimes to be like the most liberal situation and then the most conservative situation at the same time in the same state. I don't get it.
Yeah.
They got the biggest mosques in America in Iowa. And, Council Bluffs has the casinos and all this stuff. Yet, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't understand where people. Maybe it's a big battle state. Maybe that's why that's the problem, is that there's a big battle state. Didn't Obama win Iowa at one point?
I'm not sure, man.
Yeah. Von Chapman says some of these country bumpkins will be trying to normalize inbred marriages. Oh Lord. Brother Knight talking about pedophilia. Y'all. Marion Williams says, sorry, I know you've moved on, but I posted an article on indictments of Palermo and the others, and it's way more than 60K, and 3 of them are white, not just white adjacent. Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it. Brother Sanchez says civilization long ago needed kids to get married. People only lived to 45. Not so today. Yeah. When you're back in the day and your life expectancy is 45 years old, then I can see people getting married a little earlier. Pop says several states, including California, Delaware, Kentucky, New Jersey, New York, do not have minimum ages for minors to be allowed to marry with parental consent. Woo, that's crazy. So a parent can just be like, okay, I know you're 13. If you want to get married, go ahead, and they can go do it.
That's in New York.
Nice. She said white. Brother, yeah, that's in New York too.
Several states. Oh.
Brother Sanchez says the same obstacles put up to vote should be the same for gun ownership. Yeah. Kimber Snipe says, I want to update y'all on the school board and this stuff with R. Smith. It's sad. It's sad what I was informed of this weekend. Ooh, can't wait to talk to you on
Wednesday.
Gwen Easter said minors shouldn't be allowed to be making life-altering decisions, period. Anyone who wants to see children married are perverted. And what else I think about too is I think about like people just ain't paying attention to scientists at all or something. I don't know. I don't know. All the science that comes out about where a child's mind is at and how brain development doesn't even really mature until 24, 25 years old. I mean, these are things we've been talking about and knowing about for years. So why where do decisions why do people make decisions about letting children make life altering decisions at such a young when is a child a child?
Well, I guess that's kind of that's actually the mentality behind this bill. Yeah. It says the bill under the bill, medical providers are barred from giving gender affirming care if, among other things, someone has not received 15 hourly sessions of therapy over at least 18 months, has not been screened for autism, and has not had documented gender dysphoria for 3 years. So it seems like it's aimed at trying to, make sure no one makes just hasty decisions, but there's also more to it.
We were talking more about 12-year-olds getting married. Who's making those kinds of? That's Pops was talking about. He said California, Delaware, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Mississippi, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and Virginia.
Sheesh.
Your child is allowed to get married if you give them consent. So
that's scary.
My point is, what in the world?
Anyway,
Into who? You know, is there? Yeah, yeah.
he said, I think that some kids are being sold into marriage by their parents.
That's again, it's scary. Like to who? Like, yeah, yeah.
Marion Williams and Kimmer said he changed his name. His brother is Palermo too. Is Italian.
According to the report we just read, there is no relation between the Palermos, between
Yeah,
Johnny Palermo and Vinny Palermo.
yeah, they're not related. Tonight, Pastor says, but it's cherry picked concern over minors based on religious fervor. Okay, so you kind of said it. And that to me is like the move on statement right there. Move on from this story. You're right. Like I'm wondering like who's making these decisions. Why would these people make these decisions? Why is all this fervor over the laws? And it's really comes from based on religion. I
I
think
mean, yeah, that's what it kind of.
it really is like that's the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as soon as I said it's almost like they are denying science, then it was like, oh, okay, well,
What usually does that? What usually does that?
yep. Pops says sold to pedophiles with money, and that is any age, not just 12. We know it goes on. We know it goes
Well, I
on.
mean, I see y'all willing to talk about it. Eventually, I mean, we were talking about the Ghislaine Maxwell situation and the whole, and that kind of just went away, but it didn't. Like, you know what I mean? The list is still out there.
Very true. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and wrap up a lightning round of a few more stories that we had coming on, and then a little bit of haps, and we'll see you in a second. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'll be Buddi3 Da Gawd. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate everybody that's jumping into the chat today. And on this News Monday, again, it's April 24th, 2023, and just talking about some of the news that's in the atmosphere these days, all that stuff. And of course, we already went through some of the big indictments that's happened over this past week that everybody's talking about, and that we will continue to talk about as soon as we have Miss Kimmer Snipes put some respect on her name on the show Wednesday. Remember, Precious McKesson will be politicking with P, seeing what's good in the hood with Kimmer Snipes on Wednesday. Can't wait to talk to them about everything that's going on for sure. Thanks for everybody who's been putting in their thoughts and also their headlines. What's the headlines to you? Maybe that's not in the headlines that is in the mainstream papers. What's going on? Let us know what is heavy on your hearts and minds, especially about our community, East Side Omaha. We definitely want to talk about that. In the meantime, between time, we'll do a little lightning round of the last shows we have here, the last 7 minutes of the show. So, Buddy, what was on the agenda that we left off?
Well, really, the last story that we have is this Sudanese story. Apparently, there's some internal some conflict going on in Sudan, and there's a mass exodus, if you will, of hundreds of diplomats and citizens from other foreign countries, pulling their people out of Sudan. The Sudanese on Monday desperately sought ways to escape the chaos amid fears the country's two rival generals could escalate their all-out battle for power over evacuations. Once evacuations were completed, many Sudanese, along with Egyptians and other foreigners who could not get on flights, are risked a long and dangerous drive to the northern border into Egypt again to escape the impending conflict. So that's kind of the main situation going on
Yeah.
in Sudan. I'm not quite sure exactly what's on your heart and mind in regards to this story.
Yeah, just I know that we have a lot of Sudanese people here in Nebraska
Hmm.
that are keeping up on that news as well. But yeah, big unrest that's happening right now. A little bit of a war going on. As a matter of fact, enough for diplomats and people that are they consider foreign to leave. Yet the Sudanese people are reaching out for some help as well. They don't want to make sure the question is whether or not America is just going to abandon them altogether, just up and go.
Hmm.
So yeah, we definitely want to. What's on my mind about is just paying attention to the things that are related to the other members of Omaha, the other people that are here too that have a stake in what's going on over there in Sudan right now, and maybe even family members over there that have to think about and worry about. So
Yeah.
I wanted to put the conversation on the table, and to those that are listeners that are from Sudan. Let's keep each other informed and figure out what to do with that situation too. I mean, we got like I said, we got people who have family members and stuff over there that might be suffering. So we just want to acknowledge that and make sure that we stay up on what's going on there. So anybody have any comments on that? Definitely leave it to the chat. Definitely, ghost listeners, chat chimers, come on in. Let us know what's going on and what it is that we can keep our eye on even more if possible.
Yeah, yeah. As of right now, there have been hundreds of deaths, thousands of wounded, and there's been about 9 days of fighting between the Sudanese armed forces and a paramilitary group known as the Rapid Support Forces. So again, it's an internal conflict that's getting uglier.
Yeah, Tanaya Patterson said the USA been did that, just up and left them, and the reason why the situation is what it is there. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. As far as the U.S., they didn't really. Actually, they kind of sparked the mass exodus, if you will. According to this article from NPR, it says the exodus began with American Special Operations Forces swooping in and out of Khartoum in helicopters early Sunday to evacuate U.S. Embassy personnel. So they got their people out of there, and that was about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brother Knight says more likely than not, those that are here are from the tribes that the U.S. is supporting. Well, it doesn't sound like the U.S. is supporting much and nothing right this minute.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, just wanted to just make sure that we kept that in the conversation as well. Appreciate you bringing that one up. That was the last story that we.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. That's all we have. Well, I mean, we got through everything else.
Anyway, like we said, on if it's something another headline that's on your heart and mind and something that we want to talk about, only 4 minutes left in the show today, but you can put it in Friends of First Sky Omaha, and it'll definitely be on the agenda for us to talk about here coming up on Wednesday when we have Miss Kimmer Snipes and Precious McKesson on as well. So appreciate that. Tonight, Patterson said USA inserts themselves, destabilizes the land, then leaves like clockwork.
Oh yeah.
This is a thing. Marianne Williams says removing individual rights shouldn't be further normalized for sure. There you go.
There you go.
Appreciate that comment.
We do have one last thing in the headlines, but I don't have a story for this. Is Juvenile Justice media campaign. Do you have any information on that?
Oh, I did not put a link to it. Is that what
No.
was going on? Okay. Well, real fast. There's
Kind of
been,
a hap.
not really. There's been some media that's come out. I wonder. Oh man, I had to bring that up on Wednesday because I can't remember where I got the article. If I didn't put that link in, my bad. Wait a minute. I see some links here. What's going on with it? Where's Let me see if I can find that real quick. Yeah, I can't find it right. Say again.
I found it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so they're ramping up this whole juvenile justice child thing, and it's interesting how they're forming the media around that. Is the reason why I brought that one up.
Yeah, I have it. It says Douglas County's new youth center is months away from opening. You may have seen new commercials about the county's effort to reform juvenile justice. County Chair Mary Ann Borgeson said reform is about more than a building, but local law enforcement officials are still are still worried about capacity at the new facility that starts operation next year. Only 64 beds are available, while 75 kids were in detention last week. 94% of kids in detention are Black or Hispanic, according to the county's justice data official. the president of the Omaha Police Officers Association worries about what the new smaller youth center means for families when his capacity and forces the county to send kids elsewhere, which was kind of the idea of bringing a new facility downtown, trying to
Right.
avoid that. So,
Yeah. So interesting. I just like to keep an eye on the way that the narrative is flowing here about this. This is the first time they've really kind of chimed up with their media campaigns on this, and I'm paying attention to what the message is for sure.
yeah, yeah. Again, a lot of the energy, a lot of the messaging has been pointed towards this website. I'll share it really quickly, leadingreform.org, which is, again, a resource designed to kind of show how they're transforming juvenile justice.
The thing that stood out for me in this article was the number of black and brown people in these situations. Let me see if I can find that real quick.
Yeah, according to this article, it says about 80%.
No,
No, 94%.
94%
Yeah,
of the kids that are in juvenile justice
black or
are
Hispanic.
black or Hispanic. So, I often look for those kinds of, I talk about anecdotal data all the time. We always are talking about what we see around us and what we think and what we feel, and it probably is like this and so on and so forth. But when we come across data, numbers that like there's like 94% of juvenile justice kids in the juvenile justice system are black and brown, then it takes away. For me, we absolutely positively then have to talk about it because that's our community. It's our community that's most affected, and I'm talking about most as in 94% affected. Brother Sanchez says, so white kids in the new and non-white to stay in the old. I'm not sure. That means 84% black, 14% Latino. Brother Knight said. Removing individual. Oh, okay, yeah, they're going up. So yeah, that's what stood out to me in this situation is even in the what's getting ready to be propaganda of the media message about the Juvenile Justice Center. They got to put that fact in there that it's 94% black and brown in there.
Oh yeah.
So how can we not be, concerned, and how can we not be paying attention to what this the whole system. The whole juvenile justice system, why they're being built, who's making those decisions, why is this happening with no reform, which is like what Brother Terrell McKinney, Senator Terrell McKinney, put some respect on his name, is fighting for. Like, you don't just make jails, you have to have prison reform so that people don't keep going to these places. Not you keep on building them so that they just have a place to put them all the time.
Right.
But where's the reform efforts? Where's that money coming from?
Right. And also what's causing them to go in is, quite interestingly, according to this article, gun-related charges. It says most kids in the youth center are in there for gun-related charges. So now we know, we have kind of a picture that a lot of black and brown so-called children are being arrested for gun-related charges. So it's interesting. Again, it says in this article, after lawmakers sent the permitless concealed carry bill to the governor's desk, again, the first bill that was passed this session, the county chair, Marianne Borgeson, says that they will have to watch for how it could affect crime here in Douglas County, something that also Senators McKinney and Wayne have been vocal about. Again, that's why they say they supported the gun bill, because they know that it could help to lower some of those numbers. So, it's very interesting to see how all this plays out and to see if those numbers do go up or down.
Most def. 9:03. I didn't realize it was already past 9:00. My apologies. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. Before we do, though, one hap I do need to talk about today. Michelle Troxclair is going to be at the Benson Theater doing a DEIA lunch and learn. This is a free event, so there is such a thing as free lunch, I guess. And but you do got to come and talk a little bit about what's going on with diversity and just everything that we need to be talking about when we're talking about examining what's happening in business, with diversity, equity, inclusion, access, and so on and so forth. There's going to be some pretty heavy hitting speakers there too. I know Amanda Ponce personally, so I'm glad she's going to be there. She's a diversity consultant and be on the panel. That's happening today at 11 to 1 at the Benson Theater. You can register by going to bensontheater.org. I would definitely check this out. It's another area of where a conversation is happening. Of course, this is First Sky Omaha backed as well, and it's brought to you by the Humanities Nebraska. So, this is definitely something that we want to say. Hey, if you have the time, definitely go check this out. Go have lunch and speak to the panelists and hear what Michelle Trosker's got to say about these things. Man, we got to have nuanced conversations about representation inside a business. So, most definitely check that out. And we will absolutely be supporting her in this. If I can just take it down. There we go.
I see my brother Riddell Nair Jr. He's a former Viking as well. He's going to be speaking as well. So shout out to Riddell Nair Jr.
Sweet. Okay, yeah, definitely check it out. 11 o'clock here at the Benson Theater. Register and come on through, have lunch, and listen to the discussion. Other than that, we will save the haps for Wednesday. And I'll go ahead and get out of here since we're so late already. So appreciate everybody that's joined us today. Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Man, big shout out to everybody for tuning in. Thank you. The chat pretty much, stayed active throughout the entirety of the show. So we thank you for engaging, letting your mind be free, letting your voice be heard. Shout out, to everybody who's even the ghost listeners tuned in. We appreciate you as well. Remember to tell a friend to tell a friend. And be good to yourselves. Until next time, catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. And also be sure to check us out on the We Outside show as well. Hey. You can check us out on YouTube. Again, the We Outside show on YouTube. We're also airing Lincoln, too, on the weekends. So we're on Lincoln on Q96, the Beat as well.
Even Lincoln got a dope radio station. Man, we got to make it happen. Let's talk to Brother King about trying to do some.
Shout out to DJ Swady out there in Lincoln.
That's what's up. Pop says First Sky Rock. See you all Wednesday. Appreciate you, Pops. Thank you very much. We'll give a shout out to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them, and shout out to you, the chat chimers, who also is full of elders. In allowing us to speak with you. So we really appreciate everybody who is enjoying this conversation and it continues this conversation as well. Teamwork makes the dream work. Season 5. We only got a few more episodes. So stay tuned for what's going to come up next in season 6 and everything else. And also be on the lookout for the chat chimers kickback that we're getting ready to try to find a date for so that you guys can all mark the date and make sure that we can all get together and meet in person. So we'll be looking forward to that. Wednesday, we have Precious McKesson and Kimber Snipes. Put some respect on their names. The dynamic duo that will be on the show Wednesday and talking about a lot of what's going on here in our neighborhoods, especially. And also, we still have a few more episodes left with brothers Senators Justin Wayne and Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on their names.
Yeah, man.
Coming on Friday as well. So full week ahead. Don't forget to check us out and share the show. If you missed the show, then you can always go back to Facebook and YouTube and check out the show in its entirety. Please, when you do so, check out the chat because that's where a lot of the good comments and everything is going down. So check out the chat. This is a conversation with you, the chat chimers, and we really appreciate it. We could not do the show without you. Also, thanks to the people who are reoccurring members of the channel as well. The $10 people, the $20 people, $25 people, and the $50 people. Thank you so much for helping us continue this conversation. And if you're so inclined, go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the donate button, and also become a reoccurring member yourself as well. With that said, in the meantime, between time, take care of yourself. It is going to be a sunny day, a nice day today, so enjoy it. It'll be real hot real soon, I'm quite sure, after we've had that last snow the other day and all that. Starting to get the way that Omaha does things when it comes to the weather.
Oh, yeah. Bipolar.
All right. But you guys have a good one. Take care of yourselves.
Peace.
Was not ready to put my finger.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
By any